Hello my friends. Today we are going to continue to explore the lore in Dune Awakening. We're going to get into the introductory quest called The Fall of Proteus. Standard disclaimer, we won't be nitpicky about anything that's required for game mechanics. We'll be accepting the relative abundance of resources that are there to enable the survival aspect of the game. And since this is an alternate timeline, we'll be accepting any changes at face value. We talked about it briefly in the previous video, but didn't really go into detail. That there is a Cielago bat. Cielago comes from the Spanish word for bat, which is murciélago. And in the world of Dune, Cielago describes any modified flying creature on Arrakis that is adapted to distrans messages. Now you might ask, what is a distrans message? A distrans is basically a device that produces a temporary neural imprint on a bird or a bat, and it modifies its cry or song in a way that another person with another distrans device can decode it. So basically, instead of carrier pigeons with little messages on their legs, Fremen use birds and bats, there it goes, to send secret messages to each other. This one was so nice that it showed me the way to a Fremkit. Fremkits, as the name implies, are desert survival kits made by Fremen. They include all the necessities, and some, well at least the one Jessica and Paul got from Dr. Yui, contain books with the title Manual of the Friendly Desert, the Place Full of Life. Now as we try to exit the cave, we come across a moisture seal. And canonically, this is a thing. Although in the books it's called a door seal, and is defined as a portable plastic hermetic seal used for moisture security in Fremen overday cave camps. So this is a temporary solution designed to seal the moisture in. So in that sense, it is indeed a moisture seal. Now you might have noticed that every time I slash away at it heroically, I get a little bit of micro sandwich fabric. And despite this being canonically incorrect, because we already established that door seals are made out of plastic, the micro sandwich fabric is indeed a thing, so much so that still tents and still suits are made from micro sandwiches. I might not be able to explain it fully, but here's Dr. Kynes educating the Atreides. And if you'd be so kind, the Duke said, I'd appreciate an explanation of the suit from one who lives so intimately with it. Certainly, Kynes said. He felt up the robe for the shoulder seals, speaking as he examined the suit. It's basically a micro sandwich, a high-efficiency filter and heat exchange system. He adjusted the shoulder seals. The skin contact layer is porous. Perspiration passes through it, having cooled the body. Near normal evaporation process. The next two layers, Kynes tightened the chest fit, include heat exchange filaments and salt precipitators. Salts reclaimed. I mentioned in the beginning that the quest is called The Fall of Proteus. Now Proteus is not a Dune lore character. He's actually from Greek mythology. He's an early prophetic god, a god of rivers and oceans and other kinds of watery bodies. And he's one of several deities referred to by Homer as the Old Man of the Sea, which brings great delight to my heart, because as we all know, sandworms, colloquially, are called Old Man of the Desert. Gotta say, feels incredibly lucky that we crash landed, on rocky terrain instead of out in the open desert where Shai Hulud could have gobbled us up.
So then, you're not quite dead. Now you will know a thing that few but the Fremen have seen. For many, the last thing they saw before they were slaughtered.
Incredibly cool shield technology, but as we all know, shields enrage Shai-Hulud.
Come, let us speak of our escape. Twin comets in the sky, a rebirth from fire and death, and a Sardaukar net closing around us. Your survival heralds interesting times, Off-Worlder.
Now, if you click all the options, you'll get to know Zantara a little bit better. He tells you that he's not a Fremen, but apparently all the bodies that we saw in the cave were. He then proceeds to tell us that to escape, we need to go and do a fetch quest for him. I think there's only 3 pieces of lore mentioned. At the very end of the dialogue, he tells us that we need to be quick because a mother storm is upon us. Now, as the name implies, mother storms are really, really, really big sandstorms. But if you ask him why he pulled us out of the wreckage, he says,
"It is the miracle and inimitability of prophecy. I will speak on this no further."
Last time he mentioned Adab. This time he uses the exact phrase that Jessica tried to use on Stilgar when he was still a bit skeptical about Paul being the Lisan al-Gaib. The miracle and inimitability of the prophecy. Which, if inimitability is not a word that you usually use to describe your prophecies, just means that the circumstances are unique and they cannot be imitated. So in Jessica's and Paul's case, she was trying to argue that they are definitely the Lisan al-Gaib and his mom. In our case, we still don't know what that means. The other piece of lore that he mentions is a death chant that the Fremen stuck in the cave were singing, knowing that they would die.
And all the while we could hear their death chants. Red the night, dusky sky, bloody death didst thou die.
If this one's familiar, it's because it's from Jameis's funeral. The ceremony ended with a low chant. Full moon calls thee, Shai-Hulud shalt thou see. Red the night, dusk sky, bloody death didst thou die. We pray to a moon, she is round. Luck with us will then abound. What we seek for shall be found in the land of solid ground.
That's where you come in. If you can slip back onto the Proteus and locate the command module, you can activate the captain's personal emergency transmitter. He's a noble. They're not allowed to let him die. Leave the rest to me. Go. Stick to the shadows, Off-Worlder. The heat of the sun is deadly to the unprepared. The guards have sealed themselves inside. Search the prisoners for a Cutteray.
Although it sounds like a video game thing, Cutterays are mentioned both in Dune and Dune Messiah.
The Cutteray is primarily a mining tool, Off-Worlder. You'll need it for harvesting resources. Using it to cut open ships is an added benefit.
And they're used exactly as they're portrayed in the game. Cutterays were used to dig underground catch basins and hidden wind traps. They're basically small lasguns.
The captain's room is blocked by a Pentashield. You'll need a Pentashield key to pass through. See if there's another way forward.
The movies usually focus on personal shields and how the slow blade penetrates it. But pentashields are absolutely a thing in canon. The terminology of the Imperium, the appendix at the end of the original Dune, defines a pentashield as a 5-layer shield generator field suitable for small areas such as doorways or passages. It's virtually impassable to anyone not wearing a dissembler tuned to the shield codes. And I have to admit, Pentashield key is much clearer than dissembler tuned to the shield's frequencies.
That's the Pentashield key. Once you equip it, you can pass through the shield. Get to the captain and activate that transmitter. I'll be there soon. We only need the leader. I hear I'm a wanted man.
Oi! Utland scum! I vits jo man tukta lasto breg ada hung unvalo Arsunt.
Two things here. First of all, you might have noticed that you could barely almost understand Sardaukar language without subtitles. And that is because Sardaukar is not a con language created for Denis Villeneuve's movies. It's actually just English, kind of warped by the sound team. Here's an example from the movies. The other piece that I loved is the mention of Arsunt.
I vits jo man tukta lasto breg ada hung unvalo Arsunt.
It's a place on Arrakis that's mentioned only once in the core canon, so the original 6 books of Frank Herbert, although it is mentioned a few times in the expanded universe. Although it's a small town, apparently it's home to the Emperor's most expensive statue.
The Thopter will have the codes to get us through the barrier. Ever fly an Ornithopter?
Now I know that ornitho means bird in Greek, and pter means wing. So for all intents and purposes, this aircraft should be looking like a bird. But I've been in love with this design since the 1992 video game.
It's simple enough. But my leg is bad and I won't be able to work the pedals. Get ready. They'll be on us as soon as we break through. There's too many! Turn us into the storm! They won't follow.
Remember how the Harkonnen soldiers were convinced that Paul and Jessica died when they dove into the Coriolis storm? That's because normal people die in mother storms. Now, either this is horrible fan service or really good foreshadowing about how special my character is.
Get up, Off-Worlder. I couldn't wait for you. But now you need to run. The sandworm is coming. Run! Now!
And if you thought the fan service stopped there, here's another scene right out of Dune Part 1. Okay, I think we're gonna stop here and pick it up in the next video. If you found this lore review interesting, please let me know by liking, subscribing, or leaving a comment. And definitely leave a comment if you've seen something that I skipped over. If you want more lore, you can find me at dunenavigator.com. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.
Noctua can cover the ground between us with little effort. She will be my eye in the sky so I can continue to offer my sage advice and keep you on this side of the grave.